Dark Fringe Radio.
Coming to you live from the Mistopheles Studios, it's Dark Fringe Radio.
Hey, good evening, everyone. It's Will Martinez here with Dark Fringe Radio. Thanks for joining us on another edition of the podcast. And of course, I can't do this without my co-host every week, Jay Galosi. Jay, how's it going, brother?
It's another day in paradise, my guy. I'm here in my happy place, my man cave with my new pool table. I'm jacked, man. I'm good.
Look at that. What a great setup, brother. Looks great. Looks wonderful.
Oh,
man.
my God. It's here. Let's shine just a little bit of light.
There it is. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful setup.
Table.
Look at that.
Grill.
You can't ask for more than that, man. Really.
Oh, man.
You'd spend your days there. I could understand that completely, you know?
So I calculated out today.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I have spent almost 40 hours since Sunday.
Wow, Jay.
Playing pool by myself.
I couldn't do that.
Not a lot of people can.
You love the sport. You love the sport of playing pool, dude.
I have done it. It's been my pastime. I got into it when I was 19.
Yeah, no, I remember. And we used to all play together, you know?
We used to all have a good time, but I always. But
you took it on another level. Level. Yeah.
I mean, I have custom one-of-a-kind pool cue. I mean, this is what I do. People, this is what when I'm not happy in life, you know, everybody has their things to go on walks, to do this, what I shoot pool. I put in my headphones, and I shoot pool. Yeah. And it doesn't even I don't have to have somebody to play against. I will gladly play against myself on the table because that's how much I love it. But yes, so this was a birthday present for me.
That's awesome. So wonderful, Jay. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, it's a great setup and it's a great little place there too to broadcast Dark Fringe Radio. So we love the background. We love the setup. Can't wait to get over there and play some rack a couple games of pool there.
February 5th.
There we go. Yeah, it's your birthday coming around the corner, by the way, everybody. But just want to remind everyone how you could listen to the podcast. Really simple. Go to darkfringeradio.wordpress.com. Go there. All the links for all the streaming sites are there. We're all on all major streaming sites, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, all those big ones. So we're all there. Just make sure you go there. Yeah, we're all over the place. So there's no reason why you can't listen to the show. Also, I wanted to remind everybody, our YouTube, this is the reason why we're doing all this video now and giving you this extra content. YouTube, make sure you go to youtube.com and go to Dark Fringe Radio, and you can go to our channel. Make sure you subscribe, give us a nice little comment. We really appreciate it. But make sure you check us out on YouTube. That's a big thing that we're doing now. Another thing I wanted to mention, Jay, for people who want to get in contact with us and want to become a guest on the show, thedarkfringe@gmail.com. Again, thedarkfringe@gmail.com. And tonight we have a really special guest, Jay. We have David Weiss. He's the Flat Earth. He's basically the Flat Earth guy, and he has the Flat Earth pod. Yeah, he's the guy. He has the flatearthpodcast.com. He's been on Tinfoil Hat. He's been on Jericho's podcast. He's been on a lot of big different places. So we can't wait to get into that conversation here with Mr. David Weiss. But before we do all that, of course, Jay, we have to get into our more lovable segments here that we kind of like to give everybody here. And we'd love to start off with, of course, As the World Burns. And I don't really have anything too negative, Jay. I don't want to spend too much time on negative shit. There's enough negative stuff out there right now.
But there's As the World Burns.
Yes.
I mean, I texted you about it earlier today.
Let's talk about it, Jay. Come on, bring it up.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. Let's hash it out.
So today, friends, is the final day for Mr. Hank Aaron. He's a huge baseball star. For those listening who aren't in America, huge baseball star. He set a home run record, 755 home runs. I mean, he was an unbelievable hitter. He was an activist for people of color. He's helped to raise social awareness. I mean, he was really all around a great guy, athlete, humanitarian.
No scandals. You never heard nothing bad about him either.
Never nothing. No steroids.
Never. Nothing.
All he did was play baseball and be good people. And today he passed.
Yes.
What was strange about it, though, I guess he had gotten the corona vaccine about a week ago.
Yeah.
Somebody had been having wine with him 2 nights ago and said he seemed fine. He seemed fine, according to the family, the night of. He went to sleep and just never woke up. And he was in his 80s. I mean, he was in his 80s. Those things do happen.
Yeah, but that's kind of circumstantial too at the same time, don't you think? I mean, come on. I mean,
that's a bit suspect. I kind of felt like it was kind of up our alley.
Yeah. And it's actually something that I actually bring up to David, and we talk about it, David Weiss, and we actually get into it a little bit about the coronavirus, and we kind of came to a little bit of an agreement. But as far as it being something, yes, of course, it's killing people out there, but I don't know. I don't believe that it's at the fury that what it's being purported. As far as what the news is concerned and stuff like that, we hear of this number of like over 400,000 dead.
4 million. Yeah. 4 million people a day.
Something like that. Yeah. And
I mean, it's, but then
we hear all these things about these hospitals, just slapping the coronavirus thing as a cause of death. You know what I mean?
It increases their revenue.
Of course.
We talked about this a couple episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
My sister, her uncle. So my sister and I have different dads.
Mm-hmm.
Her uncle passed away, her great uncle, her grandmother's brother.
Okay.
Passed away. He was in his 90s. It was his time. It was just natural causes, and they said it was coronavirus. The guy didn't have coronavirus. He never had a single symptom of coronavirus, but they said coronavirus because it gets the hospital an extra $40,000 in revenue.
So wild.
I mean,
that's so wild.
Yeah.
It's like you don't really even know what the truth is.
No, that's the problem with everything. Everything is so fucking convoluted at this point. You don't know which way is up. It's
right.
It's so hard to tell, right? We just had this whole thing with the whole President Trump, and whether you do or do not like Trump, I honestly couldn't give a shit. But there were protests on his way in, and there were protests on his way out. It happened both ways. Both sides have done the shit. No one is right. They're both fucking wrong because they're so focused on being the one instead of let's get some unity. I mean,
it's the two political party system. It's the two political party system. That's all that's fucked up. Yeah. But anyways, we're not going to get into politics here.
No. I'm just simply saying, like everything else, it's so convoluted because everything that's the information we're getting.
You don't know what to believe half the time.
Always comes with a purse string.
Right. Exactly. Absolutely.
Follow the money.
So follow the money. And that's something that we actually kind of talk about with David Weiss. So we talk about that. We also talk about the flat earth. So really interesting conversation, and looking forward to you guys listening to that. But Jay, as the world burns, Jay, I didn't want to bring up anything too negative. So I wanted to kind of bring something kind of scary, but this guy in Jersey, he claimed to be actually attacked by the legendary Jersey Devil. Have you heard about the Jersey Devil? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a New Jersey man. He recounts his encounter with the infamous Jersey Devil about 6 decades after it actually took place on a new episode of Fox Nation's Monsters Across America. They have this new segment that they're doing on their channel. So I don't care what political side. If I see something kind of paranormal or cryptid, I watch it. So I checked it out. Yeah, I'm on it. So in the episode, Michael Orfe, he actually recalls traveling down an unpaved road in South Jersey High School, as he was a South Jersey High School student back that time 60 years ago, with his date with this girl named Violet. And then suddenly he remembers Violet spotting something unusual coming towards them. And then he can't forget what he saw. Basically, he's like he held up a sketch of what he thought what it looked like at the time, because he had a sketch done, and he hid the sketch away from his children ever since they were little. I mean, it's something that he's had for a long time. So the backstory, of course, of Jay, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Jersey Devil. It's varied, of course, by the number of people who have claimed to encounter it. From more than 200.
We know it's.
Go ahead,
We
Jay.
know it's DTF.
I don't know if it's DTF, but
it's DTF. It's DTF. It's Jim.
Yeah.
And drinking, or how you can lure it out with a G string.
Right. There you go. Well, it's been around, the legend itself, Jay, for over 250 years. So this is not something that it's just popped up like a week ago or a month ago. This has been around for a long time, and it's been always been circulating. That story has been circulating around the Pine Barrens area of New Jersey. That's where they originate, where the origin from this whole story comes from. But yeah, he recalls this, rolling down his father's car when he gets in the car, and there was something out in the woods, and all of a sudden he sees his hand, and he says that he'll never forget what it looked like. It had sharp nails, and it's a pretty interesting story because this guy really doesn't have any reason to come out with a story like this. You know what I mean? He's a pretty well respected guy.
Not gonna get his dick wet.
No. Well, listen, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the Pine Barrens area, but if it does, God bless him. But again, after he saw this creature, it finally took off, but it's something that he has held on to for a very long time, Jay. I mean, it's a pretty interesting tale, and I implore everybody to go check it out on our website, of course, darkfringeradio.wordpress.com. That's where we posted it up there, so make sure you go check it out. What's your take on this whole thing, Jay?
On this one, I'm going to lean towards the truth. I'm going to lean that he actually got attacked by something he believes was the Jersey Devil, and it might be some form of cryptid in which we've never seen. I tend not, when it comes to the cryptids, I tend to veer away. I don't believe there are a lot of cryptids out there. But on this one, I believe that this man in Jersey was attacked by something resembling said cryptid. Now, are we sure it was this particular Jersey Devil? Was it just a skank yoked up on meth? Who knows? Who knows? But
a crackhead in the wind.
Who knows? I mean, that kind of shit happens here in Florida all the time. So who the hell knows?
Right. Jersey's not that far, right?
Jersey's not that far, man. It's right up I-95.
That's right.
You don't even got to get off. You just.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, I'm with you on this because for a guy in his age to come out with some story like this at this age, 70 something years old, doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Sense.
Doesn't make sense. And and if you go to the website, you can actually look at the story. They have a video on it. They've interviewed the guy, and you can kind of, you tell when somebody's telling you a story, and like we talked about this last week, Jay, the bullshit meter, if it goes off, you can tell that this guy is a pretty straight shooter, and you know what I mean? He's an older gentleman. He has no reason to, come some kind of sensational story. So again, I want to side with you on this as well. Really interesting tale of a cryptid, Jay. Of course, the infamous New Jersey Devil. And that's it for As the World Burns. I just wanted to keep something nice and short and sweet and something different off the negative tip. So of course, wanted to do that tonight. But of course, that leads us into our next segment, which is favorite for a lot of people here, Jay, is What the F Florida Man. And Jay, for those that are not familiar with What the F Florida Man, this is a segment that you, Jay, of course, come up with a story. Not come up with, you just basically Google and find any story. It's pretty easy, actually.
And I got a good one, man.
In the state of Florida, of some crazy hijinks that happens here, of course, in this crazy sunshine state. So, Jay, what do you have for What the F Florida Man this week?
Well, What the F Florida Man, I think, honestly, out of all our years doing this, and all the stories we've come across and everything that we've heard from every media source across every opportune channel, I believe I have found the most What the Florida Man to ever Florida Man.
Wow. Okay.
Because it doesn't take just one Florida man. It's an entire Florida-based conglomerate. A nationally known company has pulled the ultimate Florida man.
Let's hear it, Jay.
MLB team here in Miami. The Miami Heat, my friend. You know them well. Dwayne Wade. We had LeBron for a very short period. So many greats have come through these doors. The Miami Heat are now using coronavirus detecting dogs.
Oh, wow. Really?
Before they let people into the arena.
Now, how is that possible? How could they train a dog to smell coronavirus? Do you have any intel on that, Jay?
According to the NBA, the Miami Heat are allowing fans back into the American Airlines Arena for their upcoming games this season. And they are implementing an interesting new approach to checking whether those fans are entering safely. Safety is key. The organization will have coronavirus detecting dogs at the entrance to screen fans for the respiratory disease that has caused this global pandemic. They're allowing fans in on June 28th. They've limited seats to 1,500, and that's only the season ticket holders. The official statement of the team is that this policy will specifically work if you or anyone in your traveling party is signaled by a canine. All members of that party will not be permitted. So let's say you and I have season tickets, which are roughly $500 a pop. Of course, we have ones for our girls because what kind of a gentleman wouldn't? And one for our son. So you're looking at $1,500 worth of tickets. Yep. Now, let's say one of our children happens to be asymptomatic, be carrying around said little disease, or had already disease, or we had already had said disease, and now we have something on our breath that a dog can pick up. Now, yes, dogs' noses are very strong. I don't doubt that dogs can detect things like that with bombs and things of that nature. But dog gets a whiff. Let's say maybe I've eaten a bacon cheeseburger right before I got there. It really likes one of my
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah, right.
All six of us, and that $3,000 worth of tickets
out the
are
window.
Fucking gone.
Yeah, that's why most people won't even chance it to go out, because it's like, you know what? Fuck it. Why am I going to even? What's the point? Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah, I might as well just stay home and watch it.
But aren't there better ways to protect ourselves than relying on the canine? I believe in canines. I have a dog I love very much. I went aggro on my neighbors this evening because they pissed me off with my dog. But she's a dog, man.
Right. Exactly.
It's a dog.
The dog, right. Exactly.
Dog. They have proven that burglars can get by guard dogs by using sausage. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm like, maybe not all dogs. Maybe
I don't know. Like, do you think that that's actually possible?
Do I think they can detect the coronavirus? Yes.
Really?
Do I think it's reliable and scientifically proven enough to be kicking people out of basketball arenas where you honestly should be having everybody just separated? You know, right, like there's got to be other ways we can do this, checking temperatures and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. I believe a dog can detect that. Yes, because those dogs, I mean, dogs are fucking unbelievable. Dogs are incredible. Totally they can pick up but is this really the most efficient? Is this really the most concrete way of knowing if somebody has the possibility of a coronavirus before you let them into an enclosed space? I don't think so.
Well, don't they have immediate coronavirus tests that gives you immediate results now?
They do actually. My girlfriend took one just this evening.
There you go. Okay, so
little prick test. You can do it at home. It's 99.9% accurate.
There you go. And so you take it, and then how long does it take for the results?
It's like 20 minutes.
There you go. I mean, so why don't they just do that before with all the people before they come into the arena? Have them go into a separate area before they're allowed in. Have them do the test. Have them wait 20 minutes, and if they're clear, they can come in.
Because it's the Miami Heat. Answer. It's Florida Man, dude. This is why they're on Florida Man.
You're right.
Because also, it would be one thing if we're talking some AAA squad or a college is doing this.
No, this is a professional NBA team that's won championships. Many championships.
Run by a very successful company that runs cruise lines.
Mm-hmm. With a hell of a GM on top of it.
With a hell of a GM on top of it.
Right.
And that's what makes it, if the Louisiana Mud Flaps were using dogs to smell coronavirus, no shocker. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, man. Yeah, everybody's got their little Boudreaux dogs out.
But not Florida, not Miami.
But not Miami, the Miami fucking Heat, man. You know these dogs are being diamond crested fucking leashes. It's
now they're gonna put flak jackets on. That's what they're gonna be with.
Miami. True. True.
Well, that's interesting, Jay, to pick for this week for What the F, Florida Man. Really interesting story, Jay. I didn't really know anything about this at all whatsoever, number one. And number two, I never even know that they could even train dogs to smoke coronavirus. So that's very interesting in itself. Sounds a little suspect to me, just a little bit, just because coronavirus hasn't been around that long. So, you know what I mean? I don't know how long it takes for a dog to start to be able, like, you know how they have dogs that like sniff out cocaine, right?
Yeah.
And shit like that. I'm sure it takes a while for them to like.
Those dogs are always so hyper.
But it takes them a while, I guess, to train them to sniff that out, right? It's not something that
I would assume
is done right. It's not done overnight, I'm sure. So again, I'm not sure if the time is in there, but whatever, man. Whatever.
Who knows, bro?
Yeah, God knows. But
according to Mickey Aronson, it is.
Well, let's see what happens after the first game. If there's a flare-up of coronavirus cases right after the first game, you'll know exactly what happened. Those dogs didn't work out very well. But Jay, thanks again for
shit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, Jay, thanks for that one for What the F, Florida Man. And that's going to bring us to our interview here with Mr. David Weiss. Make sure you check him out on his website, which is flatearthpodcast.com. He has a podcast that he does on a weekly basis. Make sure you go ahead and check it out. He has a bunch of interviews there. Also, his app, make sure you go ahead and check that out there as well. Jay, he has an app that kind of like explains the flat earth, and it actually has like a frequently asked questions area, like, you know, why is this and this and that? And you have a question, it's usually there. It's right there all in the app. So it's pretty interesting. Flatearthpodcast.com. So make sure you check that out. And we're going to be getting into our interview here with Mr. David Weiss of the Flat Earth Podcast.
Hi, my name is Jim Schmidt. I'm the author of The Way of Existence, and you're listening to Dark Fringe Radio. You can find my book at www.twoebooks.com.
All right, good evening, Dark Fringe Radio listeners. We have a very special guest on tonight. He is the host of the Flat Earth Podcast. Of course, you can follow that at theflatearthpodcast.com. He's also been a guest on the Sam Tripoli's Tinfoil Hot, Talk is Jericho, Alchemy Radio, Revolutionary Radio, Alex Jones InfoWars, and Owen Benjamin, and a lot of other shows that he's been on. Please welcome to Dark Fringe Radio, Mr. David Weiss. David, how are you tonight?
Doing well, William. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so listen, David, I did a podcast on the Flat Earth about, I want to say maybe 30 episodes ago. We're about 89, 90 episodes in now. So it's a while ago. And we kind of started talking before the show here, how about, you know, if I believe in the flat earth or not. And I was like, you know, I'm still kind of on the fence. And, you know, I kind of explained to you about how I had this interview about 30 episodes ago. And then I found you after, and I was like, man, this is a completely different take. And so thank you for coming on the podcast.
You had the Flat Earth Society on. Who did you have, and what did they say?
I had John Davis. I guess he was the either treasurer or one of the people on there. I don't know who he was. He came out of nowhere. And so, you know, I brought him on, and, you know, there was a couple things where, you know, he kind of put out there that I wasn't really in tune with, like, you know, how he said that the earth was kind of like a dish, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And just like, I'm not sure how the way he explained it just wasn't resonating with me. It wasn't clicking with me. You know what I mean?
So he was saying that the earth is like a dish floating in space.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah. See,
and that's one of the things that's the reason. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I start out by saying the Flat Earth Society is a disinformation site. It's to make you laugh at flat earth. I mean, a dish in space, I'm out. You know, That's it.
Right.
So that's not what the flat earth is. You know, when you Google flat earth, you get stuff like this. We have a disc and then other round planets or all discs. Nobody believes that except people at the Flat Earth Society. They propel stuff like that. And that's just nonsense.
So you think it's completely disinformation, huh?
Total.
Man, that's so crazy, huh? And it's amazing.
Obama plugged it a half a dozen times in his speeches.
Yeah, I kind of realized that too after the fact. And you don't realize these things until after you do some research, and that's a big thing that you implore a lot of people to do. And I also implore a lot of people here in my podcast, because we talk about a lot of conspiracies and things of that nature. And I always tell people to research, like you tell, you know, a lot of people will make a judgment about the flat earth, but they won't do research on it. And Dave, let me ask you, what got you into this whole thing? What made you go from a globe earther, a round earther, to a flat earther? What was the genesis here?
we were all globe earthers, and I did a conspiracy podcast, and people started sending me in the third year, "Hey, have you looked into the flat Earth?" And I ignored it. I thought that was a joke. And I thought, okay, they're just idiots. I banned people from our social media for even suggesting it. But then, a fellow researcher that I respect said, "David, I think the Earth might be flat." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I went in with a bias to prove it wrong, to disprove the flat Earth and prove the globe. And that's how you become a flat earther. When you really put your mind to figuring out what it is, whether, biased or not, you're going to find out that the helio-nonsensical model, I call it, is complete and total, bullshit.
Bullshit. Yeah. And I was watching some of your videos earlier, which, by the way, you can go on YouTube and check them out. They're all available there as well. And one video that I was watching, David, was you were explaining that heliocentric model, and you were really getting into how could you explain the Earth be spinning at, how many millions of miles per second, and also be spinning around an atmosphere that way? It just doesn't make sense. All your senses would be thrown off, like you kind of explained. You wouldn't be right. You wouldn't be able to see a lake flat as a penny. Explain that again, if you could.
So they tell us in the heliocentric model, we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. So that means when you're watching the sunset, you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound, right? You're on the top of the ball and you're falling over, which is making the sunset. Okay. That's crazy in itself. And then while that's going on, you're orbiting around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour.
Right.
And you're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour. If that's a speed that even exists, I don't think it is. While that entire system is moving sideways at 1 or 2 million miles an hour. Okay. And then, you're referring, they tell us because of the spin of the Earth, the water bulges at the equator 14 miles high, right? It bulges at the equator, but this lake doesn't have a ripple in it. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So you're already poking holes in the bullshit right there. So I can understand that. Yeah.
Imagine holding a plate of water in a car going 100 miles an hour on a straight road. Okay.
Impossible.
As soon as that car starts to turn, the water's out.
Right. Yeah. It makes perfect sense. And it's amazing to me that people have these beliefs of the globe Earth, of the round Earth, and it's really what was indoctrinated into us since at an early age, right?
Before we can talk, we were programmed that the Earth is a ball. When we were infants, we had mobiles over our head of planets. They sit us down in front of Sesame Street. They've got astronauts on there and rockets and the yip yaps with the Earth and the moon, and then you go to kindergarten and there's a globe in the front of the class, and they're teaching you about gravity by swinging a bucket of water around. The problem with that is, I'm gonna sneeze. Is you have to put the water on the outside of the bucket if you want to show us what's going on. So again, it's all indoctrination, all movies, everything, global network news. There's globes everywhere once you see it. And it's ridiculous. Next time you're in a store or you go, that it sells globes, they have them in decoration stores or all sorts of stuff. Just pick up the globe and look at the sticker on the bottom. It says, not for educational purposes, for entertainment only.
Oh, wow. Really? I never knew that was at the bottom of the globes. That's amazing.
Every globe says that.
That's so crazy. And you know what, David? Another thing I wanted to kind of ask you, when it comes to the globes and the map of the Earth, one of the things that we see all the time when it comes to the map of the Earth is like this flat out model of the Earth, and that's not what we should be thinking. What the Earth looks like, it's more of like that UN, right, or that UN model.
Yeah, the UN flag is the flat Earth model. Is the flat Earth map. Now, we don't have a perfect map of the flat Earth, but it's way better than the globe Earth, because the globe one makes absolutely no sense. But the way it is, the way the flat Earth works is you have to think about the Earth is like a giant pond. Okay, all of the oceans of the Earth make a pond, and all of the islands in the middle are the continents. And the shoreline of the pond isn't the edge of the world where you can fall off into space. It's just the edge of the pond. And it's the higher, all of the land is higher than the water. That's how the edge of a pond is where the land is higher than the water.
Right.
Well, all of that entire edge all the way around is Antarctica. And then the Antarctica goes on for thousands of miles. We don't know because it's off limits. Nobody's allowed to go there. So we live in the Antarctic basin, and and water at rest lays flat. Large bodies of water at rest lay flat.
And so with that model that you're showing there, David, if you were to use that model, you would basically show that the sun and moon would basically travel around the perimeter basically of that circle, correct? And that's how you would get the different time zones and different days,
so
right?
Let me show you my app, and we'll just go through that a little bit. All right,
please.
Let me share screen. If you can make sure that it's this big on the screen and it's not cut off on the edge.
No, it's perfect.
Okay. So think of this. The face of the earth is like the face of a clock. Right. And the sun is the hour hand, and the sun is wherever the sun is, it's noon. So the sun goes around once every 24 hours. Makes sense. Maybe it's kind of interesting that they gave us a clock that goes around twice a day to confuse us. I mean,
right.
So the sky is a perfect clock, and the sun goes around once every 24 hours, and it laps the moon once every 28 days. Okay. So the position of the moon and the phase of the moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. The sun keeps track of the hours and the days. And if I put on the zodiac, the stars, the fixed stars in their position, all of the 12, the constellations, they lap the sun once a year. They're going just slightly faster than the sun. Right. So the sun will move into the constellation that's coming up behind it every month. It'll be here. Next month, it'll be here in Pisces. Next month, it'll be here. And it'll work its way around. So the stars keep track of the seasons and the years. It's pretty friggin' clear.
Yeah. Look at that. It's amazing.
In the app, we have there's a ton of stuff. We have all of these other places to get information, great podcasts, information on mud floods, biblical flat earth. If you Google, hey, top 10 reasons the earth is a globe, you're going to get these articles and these videos from mainstream that are basically the dumbest arguments ever. But in this video on the bottom here, we have those videos in there, and we take them apart for you. We
wow, okay.
Don't go over the horizon. We'll show you how that happens. I have playlists in different languages. And what I tell people is, and the frequently asked questions, every question that you're going to ask, hey, what about gravity? What about ships over the horizon? If I clip ships over the horizon, up comes videos that YouTube won't feed you. That'll show you how there is no curvature. So with the censorship, it's really hard to find the information, but now it's all here in this app.
In one app.
What I tell people is get the app. It's $2.99, right? Oh, he's in it for the money. Nope, that's not it at all. I left a very profitable business to do this full time.
It's less than a cup of coffee. Come on, please.
It's a half a beer.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have a challenge for your listeners. Every day there's a new video down here, a featured video of the day. Short ones during the week, long ones on the weekend. And I say, watch the video every day for 2 weeks, and then send me one proof of the globe, and I'll refund you $2.99, and I'll give you a Bitcoin, full Bitcoin.
Wow.
All right.
Okay. All right. So you heard it here. Just David Weiss is telling you
proof of the globe.
He wants proof of the globe. And let me ask you, David, has there been anybody so far has brought you anything that has been close to any proof?
Would I be offering a Bitcoin if I was in any fear of losing that Bitcoin?
No, I probably wouldn't think so.
By the way, but like if when I first heard about flat Earth, if I saw a guy on the internet with this, I'd be like, I'm taking that challenge. I've got 50 proofs of the globe. But then when you start looking, just go before you send it to me, hit that question mark and look, make sure your question's not answered in there, because it is. It's in there. And then it's not just video. It's a video that's explaining it to you. Don't believe anything. We'll show you how to do the experiments yourself. But here, watch the sun. We have the outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn, and the inner yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer. And if I move the sun up, if I jump them up with the little jumping guy to June, That's our inner northern summer because the sun is closer to us.
So
right?
the sun comes in and out basically on that.
Every 6 months, it goes from the Cancer to Capricorn.
Got you.
Right now, where the sun is, it's our inner northern summer. And because it's closer to us, it's higher in the sky. It's over our heads. So imagine an airplane flying straight over your head, 10,000 feet. Okay. And there's another airplane, same height, paralleling that airplane 20 miles to your south. Okay. When you look at the one over your head, that's your summer sun. And when you look at the one that's out south, that's your winter sun. It's lower in the sky because it's way over there. Gotcha. And it's farther away and it's colder. That's it.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
makes perfect sense.
If I jump back out to if I go out to now or October, November, December, bam, it's the outer summer sun. Yeah. So Australia is the sun's right over them and they're having a blazing summer where we're in the middle of our winter.
That's right. That makes sense. And it's pretty amazing. Cool. Yeah, it's awesome. This app is so versatile, which also gives so much more information, which is really cool. I really implore everybody to check that out. Where can they find that app, David, please?
It's in the Apple App Store. You have to have an iPhone 6 or higher, and it's in the Google Play Store. You have to have operating system 8.0 or higher, and it works on iPads and Google Pads. So just for iOS, just for mobile devices.
Gotcha.
It's not for computers, unfortunately.
Okay. No, that's cool. No, that works. David, it's amazing the misinformation that we deal with here. You know what I mean? When it comes to the flat earth, and to everything really, if you really think about it, in all aspects of our life. But I want to kind of focus on NASA for a second.
Yes, my favorite.
I am a firm believer on the moon landing being faked. I will stand by that. It's a fake moon landing. The moon landing was fake.
Big movie. All right, here's a question. Wait, test question. Is this the moon, the LEM rendezvousing with the orbiter from the moon, real footage from NASA, or is this a rejected clip from South Park because they didn't like the animation? It wasn't good enough.
I would probably say B because the animation looks pretty shitty.
Yeah, this is actual footage from NASA when they departed the moon.
It looks horrible.
They were connecting with the orbiter.
Yeah. I mean, if people think they can believe that, I mean, in all the photos, I mean, David, I've gone into nauseum about the photos, especially the astronauts, running around with ropes and high wire and the module coming down and there's no blast marks anywhere after the fact. I mean,
those the rocket landings are my favorite. They're
I don't understand.
Friggin' bad.
And these videos here, like exactly what you're showing. I mean, it's so apparent that these people are on wires, and you can see the wires in some of these occasions, like you're showing right there. It's a perfect example.
It's so clear. Here, check this out. Which one is a real rocket?
I bet you they would say the one on the left. It's the real one, right?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that is supposedly the real one, but. This is a day. There's 5 to 10 foot rollers out there. You would have a hard time standing on that raft. Okay, it's windy, and this thing is landing on a bullseye. This thing is like 5 stories tall. Like somebody can walk underneath the little leg in there. This is gigantic and it's heavy. And that little flame, and it's able to find that raft and land.
Yeah, it's so inconceivable. I don't understand how people really believe it.
Yeah, this is a 1957 movie where they basically predictively programmed us into accepting something like this nonsense. It's so unreal how bad it is.
It's amazing. And, I believe that we've never been into space, personally. What is your take on that? I mean, what do you think?
What about the space station? What about footage like this? How would you explain this?
I mean, I could do that right now in my living room.
How can you get in the living room? Yeah, where are you going to get the Earth? The picture of the Earth?
I'll find it online from NASA.
Yeah. Or perhaps one of our flat earthers took this from his front yard and just turned it upside down.
Look at that. Amazing.
Isn't it? And that was the budget of $0. NASA gets $65 million a day.
Do you believe Stanley Kubrick was behind the fake moon landing?
It's probably,
Yeah.
probably they need somebody to film it, and they couldn't do it. Is this a 40,000 pounds of steel falling out of the sky, or is that a blimp?
I couldn't even tell you. It looks like a blimp, but no, it looks like a blimp.
Look, you see that guy? He jumped. That was Felix Baumgarten. He's gone in a split second.
Gone. Wow.
Okay?
How's that possible?
This is 40,000 pounds of steel or a helium blimp.
That's a blimp, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's supposed to be the external tank of the shuttle falling back to Earth.
That's crazy.
Burn up because it's going to go so fast. It's going to burn up and dematerialize.
David, tell me about NASA and their photos online.
What about NASA?
Their photos that they put out there about space. Tell me about space. All these photos that they show about the, you know.
Like this, they took this in 2016 of Jupiter.
Right.
This is the aurora that proves that Jupiter has a magnetic pole. Right.
Wow.
But it's the exact same thing. None of these storm clouds have changed.
Have moved. Right.
In over 2 years.
It's amazing. It's amazing that this information is just, constantly put out there, and they have us thinking that, we landed on the moon and all this. I mean, what do you think the purpose behind NASA is? It just a complete misinformation campaign, or what do you think the purpose of?
It's literally to control our minds. The government is control the mind, meant as mind, govern is control, govern the mind. Mm-hmm. So they want us believing that we are insignificant, meaningless specks flying in space, and we have we're just random accidents. They're hiding the creator. They don't want us to know that we're at the center of creation. They don't want us to know that there's probably more. Look, imagine if there was some tyranny going on in the world. Just imagine, if you could, some tyranny, and people were fed up. But they had other options. Like, hey, you know what? Right. We can go to other continents that are not run by governments. You think people would be picking up and leaving? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would.
Yeah. I think there would be a lot of people.
Perhaps there's more land beyond Antarctica. And personally, I can't prove it, but I believe that there is. There may be another ring with other, another sun out there, right, with another ring. Beyond that, there could be other continents within our southern oceans that we just don't have. We can't get to because they're like uncharted. GPS will steer you around them. It's quite large out there.
Yeah, no, it is. And again, it's been uncharted, of course, area. Nobody's ever been out there ever since 1950 something, since that treaty was signed that nobody could go into. 1957,
the Antarctic Treaty. Nobody is allowed to go independently explore Antarctica. Right. No one's allowed to pass 60th parallel, which is this pink line. So no one's allowed to take any fuel beyond that. It's still hundreds of miles to Antarctica.
Wow.
And you'll be stopped by force if you even try.
Right, exactly. It's amazing. And David, we have this app, you've come out with, you do your podcast, you're constantly trying to get this information out there. And a lot of people ask me, they say, oh, why would you even consider, talking about the flat earth? But the flat earth is something that's really important because, it kind of leads into everything else that bleeds into what we're getting in as far as information wise. It's not the correct information. Do you stand by that?
If you're lost in space and don't know who you are, where you are, what you are, don't know that you have divinity over yourself and nobody else has dominion over you, that, you'll make bad decisions. The world is in a screwed up place right now. People are believing nonsense. People are infected with cartoons in their mind, right? Without saying too much, I don't want to get you kicked off. But
no, it's
that's
okay.
Because people are lost in space. People are just they have no idea what's going on. So it's all about mind control. It's all about not knowing that you have a lot of power. People are like, what difference does it make? I can't do anything. We're the many, they are the few.
That's right.
Okay. The problem is people are just obedient, brainwashed slaves.
Yeah, I guess some people just are what they call, content with just being whatever. You know what I mean? and not knowing anything or not knowing any better. But we talked about the flat Earth, NASA. Another subject I wanted to kind of get into with you as well is this whole COVID business. And I know it's a really taboo subject, especially for social media platforms.
And what you cut off for a second? Which thing?
The COVID issue, obviously, that we're dealing with here in the United States. And I wanted to kind of get your take on it because, I do believe that there's maybe something out there, obviously, but I think it's a little bit more blown out of proportion than what people may think.
So yeah, there's something, I mean, you lose your taste and smell for a couple of weeks and maybe you get a little chill and you have a 99.97% chance of surviving if you get it. Versus if you get the jab, you have a 2 or 3% chance of a severe reaction or death.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird. I don't know. Yeah. Do some odds on that.
There was like 23 dead in Norway. I don't know if you've seen that article or not. After receiving the jab.
What happened?
Go ahead. 23 dead in Norway after receiving the jab, like a few days right after receiving it.
Yeah, I'm sure they're reporting all the numbers too.
Yeah, I know.
There was an old age home. There is an old age home in upstate New York that had, I don't know, 200 people in it or something. And a couple of people had been tested positive, which means absolutely nothing if you understand what the PCR test is. And no deaths. And then then 80% of them got the vaccine. And within 1 week, there was 24 people that died of COVID. Wow. Maybe the jab is the beer bug.
Maybe it is. I mean, I don't understand how people can't see through it. I mean, is it just because the media?
Because
is it
they're
just
lost in space. Their mind is infected with cartoons.
Yeah.
Honestly,
you're right.
That's really it.
Yeah, you're right.
People look at this and think this is the Earth, but nobody does critical thinking. Look, this is Baja to the west coast of or the East Coast.
East Coast.
I'm backwards.
Yep.
East Coast. And so that segment there is measurable because we can drive it and we can figure it out. And because when you're flying in an airplane, you have to believe what GPS tells you. But we can measure this, and it's 934 miles. 934 into the diameter of the Earth equals 8.5 times.
Okay.
So we need 8.5 of these to equal this diameter right here. 8.5 of those is a little bit longer.
Yeah.
That's only 7.5 or 7 3/4. It's even longer, right? So the Earth is either tiny or that's a painting and we never went to the moon.
Man. I'm with option B on this point. I can tell you that. You don't have to convince me of that, honestly, brother. Seriously, because I've seen it and I've tried to convince other people, and some, yes, they've turned over, but some will just stick to what they have been taught all of their life, man, all of their life. And like you said, it's been indoctrinated into us as far as what we believe in. David, what if there was any piece of evidence besides something like this, or even talking about seeing ships in the distance and, things like that, what would be one piece of evidence that you would say that you would try to give a layman, just like me, to say, hey, listen, this is what I would say to them to kind of convince them?
Well, there is no curvature. That is fact. So if the Earth is 24,901 miles around, you should be able to have curvature over the water. Now, there's Navy ship captains that will they can, with a pinpoint laser, with a pencil thin laser, can target another boat 100 miles away. Well, 100 miles away, there should be over 6,000 feet. That's over a mile of curvature, but they can target the boat with a pinpoint laser.
Right.
There's no curvature.
Makes sense.
How many stretches of flat water does it take to make a sphere?
Right.
So people say boats disappear from the bottom up. Watch this. There's no boat here. We're zooming in. Okay. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, there's the boat. There's the boat right there. Right. So now watch. Now look at the hull of the boat. Okay. And as we pull out, watch, the hull of the boat's going to disappear. So this is equivalent to a boat sailing away. Watch. It's like half gone, right? It's up to the window.
Right.
The hull's gone.
Right.
And then that was sailing away. You go, it's over the horizon. And then we zoom in and there it is again.
Right.
If something goes over the horizon, I don't care if you have the Hubble telescope, which by the way isn't real. You could zoom in, and you would hit the mound of water. You wouldn't see it again.
Got you.
It all has to do with the angular resolution limits of our eyes. And on a day like this, with these waves, these little waves will
So
block out the lower part of the boat because these waves are bigger here and the boat's getting smaller. So it's disappearing what I call the wave front edge.
Right. Because the wave is bigger than the boat at that point.
Yeah.
From the forefront. Got it. Makes sense. Man.
There's no curvature.
Yeah. It's right there. I mean, if there was, you wouldn't really be able to see that boat, really, right?
Yeah.
If it was true, if there was curvature to the earth, you wouldn't be able to see that boat. You'd maybe see the top of the sail, if that, right?
Well, the other thing is we don't know exactly how far away that boat is or how much curvature should it be. You can argue that all day, but when there's something like this, a fixed oil rig, this one with the camera at 1 foot, according to Globe Earth Calculator, there should be 59 feet of curvature at the rig, but we can see the water for tens of miles beyond the rig.
Right.
There should be 59 feet of water blocking us from seeing the surface of the water here. 59-foot hump.
Right.
But we can see the surface of the water flat for miles and miles and miles
behind that. Right. Yeah. Doesn't make sense. Make sense.
And this is just a clip from a video. We zoom in and out. You can see it. And the only answer the Globers have is refraction. That refraction is magically lifting up the water so there's no hump but leaving the oil rig. I mean, it's the dumbest thing ever. It's like the dumbest crap ever.
But they have us believe in it, David. They have us believe in it. They have us believe in this whole thing. Why do you think they have us believing it? I know it's the control, but I mean, is there more to it? I mean,
it's to hide God. It's to control our minds. Yeah. It's to make us think that there's no more, they don't want us exploring maybe what they consider their garden, which is there could be paradises beyond where we're allowed to go.
Another point that I kind of wanted to make here too, as well, David, that I found from your videos, was I saw one where you were talking to, I believe it was an older lady that went to school here in the United States.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So and she was talking about how they taught flat earth in school. Explain that, please.
Yeah, so I was interviewing her about the World's Fairs, which is a whole nother thing, in the early 1900s, and she had gone and she was telling me all about it. And then she was telling me about stuff when she was 5 years old. And I said, where did you go to elementary school? She knew the school, the name, the teachers, kids in her class. And I said, what did they teach you in science class about the earth? And I never mentioned flat earth. And she looks at me, she goes, they taught me the earth was flat, but then they changed it, in the later years.
Right.
And I was like, she goes, I just thought science was getting better, and she said that she believed it. And I told her, and she broke down in tears. She was so happy because she always knew that it was. And so we found newspaper articles and microfilm of other articles about teachers being persecuted for teaching heliocentrism. And a woman from Croatia said in the 1930s, that wasn't that long ago.
No.
Everyone in Croatia knew the earth was flat. So I think this takeover happened in the early, late 1800s, early 1900s, when they started to really, steal our world from us.
Yeah, steal it and make a bunch of lies, and then use that as as a foundation for NASA and other agencies like that. And when I saw that video, I was just amazed because a lot of people think that this whole flat Earth thing is a new thing. It's not a new thing. This concept has been around for hundreds of years, correct?
It's been around, and it's always been around, but I think the internet kind of got away from them a little bit, and it started going viral. So when I first got into it, there was hundreds of videos coming out every week, and it was great. You could just find stuff now. They're hiding it. Like if you try to find it, you find propaganda stuff. You find some of our key flat earth people that are just caught in a bad interview, and they splice it together in a way, and they make a video out of it, and then that's the first thing that you find.
Sons of bitches.
It's just it's unbelievable. But it's not working, because even when you find that, you're like, wait a minute, a lot of people see through it, like that doesn't look right, and then they look deeper, and then hopefully they find something else.
That's one thing I will say about people now, that they've gotten a little bit more wiser to what they see on YouTube and see these clips, and they're kind of can cut through the bullshit, and they can know, like, okay, they know what's been put in front of them is maybe kind of bullshit or not. So yeah, I will give you that. They've been a little bit more smartened up to that. But again, David, tell us again where we could find all your work. Again, that's at the Flat Earth podcast?
Not the Flat Earth Society.
No, I was going to say it.
Yeah. It's easy. I have a podcast. It's called The Flat Earth Podcast.
Flat Earth Podcast.
It's available on all podcast players. You can also go to the website, theflatearthpodcast.com. My YouTube channel is the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. It's just DITRH.
Yeah.
Just remember Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. And again, the app is the best way. You know, if you're looking at a computer, just point your camera right here and you'll pull it up, or just search Flat Earth. It's the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. But if you search Flat Earth on your phone, it should be the #1 hit. I've heard some reports that some people can't find it in their app store. You have to really type it out, or just point your camera at this QR code and that'll bring it up. Or at the end of all my videos, that QR code's there.
Awesome. We'll make sure to go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's $2.99. It's the best $2.99. Just read the reviews, except for the couple people that like, my phone from 1990 doesn't work, you know. But besides that, people are like, I've never bought an app before. I'd pay $30 for this app. Best app ever. So enjoy it.
Awesome. Yeah, everybody, Dark Fringe Radio listeners, make sure you check that out. Check out the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app on your app store there on your, of course,
maybe
iTunes.
Get a free Bitcoin.
You might get a free Bitcoin. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Hey, David, listen, you are a pleasure to have on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. And, we'll definitely have you back on here in the future. Definitely.
Okay, man. Thanks for having me, and we'll talk again. Thanks. Send me a link when this is up. All right.
Absolutely, you got it, my friend.
All right. Have a good night. See you.
All right. Peace. Have a good night.
Bye.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Mr. David Weiss. Make sure you check out his stuff at theflatearthpodcast.com. Make sure you check out that app. And he still has that. There's a little bit of a challenge that he has out there for people, Jay, that if they can actually prove that the Earth is around Earth, that he would give them $1 million. So he's been able to pretty much debunk everybody, supposedly, since then.
Elon Musk, that's out to you there, dog.
Yeah, I don't know if he needs the money, though, right?
Tobacco, I don't need that backing. But come on, Elon. My guess is you've got something on one of those SpaceXs that shows.
I'm sure. If anybody does, right? So it's him. But yeah, check that out. Okay. Again, theflatearthpodcast.com. But Jay, before we say goodnight to everybody, we like to do a little bit segment before we say goodnight, which is what to watch. And Jay, what do you have this week for everybody for what to watch?
Well, I kind of again have two. I keep overloading us, and I apologize, friends.
No, that's fine.
But
more content.
One you can't watch until tomorrow. I'm going to suggest everybody goes on, gets the pay-per-view to watch. Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier fight for the possibility of who could one day be a champ. And hopefully at some point Habib will figure out if he's going to stay retired or not. I kind of hope he does. He's my favorite
if
fighter.
There's any way to go out gangster, it's to go out that way. Undefeated champ.
Throwing Justin Gaethje in a triangle.
Exactly. As the finishing match of your life and your career.
It doesn't get much better than that.
It doesn't.
He's my favorite fighter, but I really like Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor. He's compelling. His comeback, he looks great. He looks trim. He seems like he's in a good place. The question is, he was always a killer. He was a hunter. That's why a lot of his fights end in early rounds. So the question is, he didn't really go out and hunt Cowboy Cerrone. They clinched pretty quickly. That shoulder broke his nose. It was efficient.
It was efficient and
smart.
The thing is, too, is Donald Cerrone is not a quick starter as well. He's a very notorious slow starter.
Right. Yep.
So he knew that he really didn't have to go in for the kill at the beginning because he's like, you know what? This guy's a slow starter. I can kind of take my time with him and see if I can pick him apart. And that's exactly what he did. And he was very efficient in doing that. Question I have for you, who's the champ in that division? Is it Volkanovski?
No, right now it's still Habib.
Oh, okay. So he still has the belt then, right?
Habib has the belt because while he has,
so there's no interim title champion right now, no? Okay, all right. I wasn't sure about that.
No, there was talk because Dustin Poirier is number 2. He was number 2. There was talk of this being ultimately for the title. There's been some talk about some, doing kind of a tournament style where you have Conor, Dustin, and the next UFC would be like Gaethje, Oliveira. Oliveira threw his fucking hat in the mix right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's such a heavy division, but I mean,
And then you also have what's his name, Holloway too, who just came off a fucking fantastic performance, and I think he just broke a record for the most fucking punches landed in a fight.
Max Holloway's a weight class below.
Oh, is he? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
but I thought he said that he was watching that fight very closely though too, that he wouldn't have a problem going up.
He is, and he said he would have no problem going back up for a rematch with Conor if Conor wins and gets the belt.
Right.
Habib also said that if somebody does something really amazing, he might come back and fight them, let them try to take the belt from him. You also have talk of if Conor wins this fight, it might be then it might be Conor versus either. Shit, who are they talking about?
Oliveira?
It's not Oliveira. Oliveira would have to win one more to get put in that mix.
Okay.
It was going to be Ferguson. It might be Gaethje. Gaethje's been thrown in there. I would like to see a Gaethje-Conor fight.
Yeah, that might be interesting. I think Conor.
A Gaethje-Conor fight would be good.
I think because you know what, they're so similar. I think in the way they fight, I think Conor would just out hustle him because he's just that much more bigger and stronger. I mean, that's what I think in that.
I don't know.
I mean, it could be still a hell of a fight. I'm sure it's going to be something like crazy.
Anybody that can work Tony Ferguson that way with his hands.
Yeah.
I mean, Oliveira just massacred Tony Ferguson, but not with his hands. I mean, the way Gaethje was hitting Tony Ferguson, he looked like a retarded monkey.
Yeah, he didn't look good at all. And a lot of people said that he wasn't the same after that fight. So I mean, it goes to show you
that might be it. But Oliveira just out wrestled him.
Yeah.
I want to see Oliveira fight somebody else. If you can do that, Tony Ferguson, you got my respect for sure. So either way, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, it should be a fantastic fight. There's a couple other really good fights on here as well. I think Kevin Holland's going to be fighting again on this one. That guy's cool. There's a lot of really good fights coming up on this card. And the other one is on Netflix. I've been holding this one kind of in my back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
It's Iron Fist.
Oh, okay.
The TV series Iron Fist. I love Marvel, but I don't like Marvel TV shows. S.H.I.E.L.D. was okay.
Yeah.
But every other TV show they've ever tried before or after has been just garbage.
Have you seen The Punisher?
It was terrible. Huh?
Have you seen The Punisher?
Yeah, I couldn't really.
Really?
I wasn't a fan.
Man, I was such a huge fan of that, man.
It looked just bargain basement.
Really?
To me, watching The Punisher, I just thought it looked a little cheap, but Iron Fist cheap works in a direction.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, and it's a good story.
Like it comes off as like that kind of B movie kung fu, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of feel with the Marvel storytelling behind it.
It really feels like a comic book, like a real comic.
It does.
Book. Right.
It does. It
right.
does.
Right.
Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil. It was all garbage.
Really,
Daredevil
I liked all that stuff.
Daredevil was okay. Was okay. Otherwise, all the rest of it was crap. DC does better with their TV shows. Arrow is fantastic. Gotham is unbelievable. Flash is torturous for me. Every season they kill me. I never think he's gonna make it, but he always does.
He always does. Yeah.
But it gets me every time.
So it's so weird how DC can come out with great TV shows, but they just can't come out with a great movie.
But their movies are awful.
They're god awful, aren't they?
That Wonder Woman, I talked about it last week. I can't stress enough how fucking awful it was. It was terrible. Gal Gadot is hot. It was not worth it. Not worth it. People avoid that movie like the plague.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, Jay. So we'll check that out. I've actually seen
Iron Fist.
I've seen the whole series of Iron Fist. Really good shit. Check that out. So, Jay, thanks so much for giving those suggestions for what to watch this week. Of course, just want to remind everybody how you can listen to the podcast. Make sure you go to our website, darkfringeradio.wordpress.com here at the bottom. And right there, you'll have all the streaming links to your advantage. and choose whatever you feel is necessary. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. Again, if you wanted to send any kind of correspondence to us, you want to be a guest on the show, send that to us at thedarkfringe@gmail.com. Again, that's thedarkfringe@gmail.com. And that's it. We really appreciate all you guys checking us out this week on Dark Fringe Radio. Anything else for the outro, Jay, before we say goodnight?
No, just, you know what? Be kind to your fellow man, no matter what they are, color, belief, whatever. It doesn't affect you. Just let it go. Be kind to your fellow man. That'll get us a long way.
Much longer way. Absolutely, Jay. Can't agree more. Again, I am Will Martinez here with Dark Fringe Radio for my co-host, Jay Colosi. We'll see you guys again next week.
Thank you for listening to Dark Fringe Radio, recorded in the Mephistopheles Studios. Any correspondence can be sent to thedarkfringe@gmail.com. Thank you again for listening.